Hello, I'm Paula Hawks. I'm going to show you how to make a batch of the Meyer Lemon Shortbread cookies that those of you in the wine club received in the package that was sent out in January along with the futures information. This one that I'm about to make is the Meyer Lemon version, which is what was sent, and there is another batch in the oven that's a variation that's listed in the recipe on the website that's with almonds and almond extract, and you'll see that one in a few minutes. So I have the 2/3 cup butter in the food processor. It's pretty much ready to put the sugar in. So I use about half powdered sugar. So that's 1/4 cup of powdered sugar. And about half granulated sugar, slightly more with the granulated because it's half a cup plus a spoon or more than 1 more tablespoon of granulated sugar. So it's altogether half a cup plus a tablespoon or two. And this is the main mixing procedure, so I'm going to try to get this fairly well combined before I add anything. Then I'm putting a little bit of salt. I used partly unsalted and partly salted butter for this, and as I mentioned in the recipe, you adjust the salt partly on that basis. Okay, so there's that. So the next is the flour. And this is just regular all-purpose flour. It's going to be 1.5 cups. It's a very simple recipe. Relies heavily on butter. 1.5 cups plus a tablespoon, half a teaspoon, no, I think it's 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. And while I'm at it, I might as well put this in. It's grated. I use this small grater. It looks like that size. And grated Meyer lemon rind. And I did not measure when I did this. I'm guessing this is about 2 teaspoons. This becomes first crumbly, and you want to stir it down to get the flour and the butter mixture a chance to combine better. Even if it stays a little bit crumbly, it's okay because it's going to get packed into the pan. So it has no liquid. It's a lot like pie crust, except probably even butterier. Okay. So that's what it looks like at this point. Shortbread, which is the one that went out in the packages, and I've sort of just dumped it out from the food processor into, this is a very lightly greased pan, which probably isn't necessary because there's so much butter in the dish, just pressing it to the edges and flattening it, and this has the fluted part, which doesn't show up very much when it's cool and cut, but it's a little bit, so it's kind of fun. You could just do it in a regular pie pan also. The lumps will pretty much just sort of even out, melt together as it cooks. Nothing else. Traditionally, shortbread has no flavoring ingredients. It's just butter, flour, sugar, and a little bit of salt. 325, sometimes you have to turn it down to 300 for 30 to 40 minutes. The version that has the ground almonds and the almond extract that I just took out of the oven. And as you can see, it's made in the fluted tart pan, which has a removable bottom, which makes it easier to get it out of the pan, especially if you're doing it this way. And in a minute, I'll cut it into the wedges and take it out of the pan, but it needs to cool for 5 or 10 minutes first. Okay, so that's on the plate. And I will take a small sharp knife. And shortbread, most recipes tell you to score it before you put it in the oven, but it doesn't seem to be necessary, at least in this recipe. And so I just leave it and then let it cool very slightly and then cut all the way. And there you have it. And then when these are cooled enough, what you can do is take a spatula and lift them off here and put them to cool. And they keep very well. Wrap them in foil, put them in a tin if you want, and they're certainly good for at least a week.